I'll just go ahead and throw the intro out there. Hello, everybody. I am Thomas Zachary. This is the next episode of the KAAMP. I'm joined by another cool and local artist today. Would you go ahead and please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm the artist behind Junedog Art.
And what is Junedog Art?
Junedog Art is essentially just whatever I make. I'd consider myself, I'm primarily a painter, but I do a lot of multimedia work. I like woodworking, epoxy. I work with plants that I forage. Basically, anything I can get my hands on, if I can make something out of it, I will.
Sound a lot like myself. It's like, what do you do? Whatever I demo, please.
Basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will think that my name is June. June is actually my dog. I named it after her.
I'm glad we got that clarification out of the way early.
Yes.
That way there's not a mystery anymore.
I was like, but you can call me June. I will answer.
At this point, you're used to it, I'm sure.
Yes.
So, one of the things I like to ask folks is, can you give me sort of like a timeline walkthrough of what mediums you've used up until this point in your life?
Yeah.
So, when did you first art, and what did you first art with, and then what are you arting with now, and everything in between?
All right. I'd like to start by saying I never wanted to be a painter.
Oh no.
Which I think is the funniest thing is I never wanted to be a painter. I actually started, I would say, like 6th grade. I'm about to give myself away. I was really into anime in middle school. So I started writing comic books.
Oh no.
Yep.
The
I
gateway
know.
drug.
Yep. I was like revealing a little bit of my weeb background. Um, and then, so most of like middle school, I drew comic books until I got to high school. And I kind of like started to get away from that because I got accepted into, we had like a technical school where, so for half the day I would do like graphic design. So instead of like traditional school, I would go to my like public school, high school for half the day, and then I would go to like a design school for half the day. Very cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's probably the only reason I didn't drop out of high school. Like, let's be real.
Could be true.
Yeah. And that was like a lot of graphic design, like a lot of computer work. But through that, they taught me how to use gouache and do lino cutting. And I took to that much more than I did graphic design.
I think that's a funny pair of things to like join with all the digital stuff. But
Yeah.
but it's good that there's a tangible aspect to it.
And that's like, they were trying to teach you design. Like, it was kind of like fast tracking you to go to art school for graphic design. That was kind of their thing, is we built a portfolio. But I was like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I was like, I don't want to make logos for like, I don't know, boring stuff for the rest of my life. That sounds terrible. I'm kind of terrible at like given strict guidelines, you know?
Yeah, when you have a very defined set of conditions and rules to stick to.
Yeah, and also like the client's never right. Like, I'll be like, this looks good, and they're like, but can you do it this way? I'm like, that looks heinous. But you're paying me, so
Right. I'll do what is asked of me.
yeah.
I had, in this vein, I had somebody ask me to Photoshop their heads on to some different celebrity bodies, and I was just like, man, I want to make this look good. And they're like, no, make it oversized with a really poor cutout of my face. Just make it bad on purpose. And you know, you just have to take a step back and be like, yeah, okay, this is not what I would want, but I'm going to do this because you asked.
It's what you want. This is what you're paying me for. We honestly, like, I got Procreate recently, and the worst thing I've been doing is we have like screenshots of like bad Tinder profiles that we'll like put into photos of our friends. That's like my favorite thing ever. It's so fun.
I like this idea.
I was like, save it for later. That's like one of my friends' like birthday presents was like her surrounded in bad Tinder profiles we've saved.
We're going deep early.
Yeah, this is how I am. I'm actually from just outside Detroit. I'm not a Tennessee native. I was like, this is how like Northerners are. We're very much like upfront.
Well, I mean, I wasn't surprised by the honesty of the conversation. It's just that We've been recording for a solid 5 minutes now, and we're already talking about how we screw with our friends. So, it's all good.
It's a passion, you know? It's why I wake up out of bed in the
You
morning.
love them, so you treat them the best.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, that's really all I took for it. And I actually stopped doing art for a long time after high school. I had some scholarships to go to art school, and I was like, that sounds expensive.
So did you stop doing creative things as a whole, or did you just find a different creative thing to do while you weren't, quote unquote, making art?
I think I kind of stopped altogether. I moved out at 18, and so it was kind of like that all got put on a pause while I got my foothold in the world.
Yeah, that's fair. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I didn't come back to it, and I think until I was like about 24. And I've been painting since I was 24.
So from 24 till now, what are the things you've been playing with?
I started with gouache and watercolor. I'd been like a black and white artist for so long that I decided I'm like, oh, I probably should learn about color. So I picked up gouache and a watercolor set and started working with that. And then from there I got into acrylic, and that's my bread and butter. Like, I love acrylic paint.
I mean, that's most of my work. Yeah.
It's so bold. It dries fast. I tried oil, and I just stick my arm through it.
And I don't have the patience to wait 3 months for a piece to dry.
Exactly. I'm like, honestly, like right now at home, I've got a 2 easel set up. I've got like 2 paintings going at the same time, and I'll have 2 separate palettes. And while one's drying, I'll start working on the other, and then I'll flip back and forward, because it's like I can work on this one for a half hour while this one dries, and then a half hour on that one.
I've done some of that, but then I'm just like, how did I start 4 paintings?
Yes.
Why are there 5 of these here? I don't understand. Which color goes where? Rabbit hole.
It just turns into a mess. Mm-hmm. Especially, like, I don't know, they're always like 2 very different palettes. And then I'm like, ooh, I have to like go from like working in these like reds and blues and like hazy colors to like dark blacks and navies. Like, it's like stretching my brain in a different way.
Yeah, I get that. And what really happens that screws me up is when I accidentally dip the brush in the wrong palette and then take this and put it over there where it's not supposed to be. And then like, well, shit, how do I integrate this mistake that I can no longer change? Like, you just have to roll with it after you screw that up or start all over. There's no in between.
That's kind of the beauty of painting, though, is I feel like, especially like with acrylic, it's making mistakes and seeing what you can do with it. And I think that's helped me in a really like spiritual way, where I'm like releasing a bit of control.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see these things here. Mm-hmm. I like to think it's adding a bit of order to the chaos, but sometimes it's the other way around. And I can't tell you which one of those brushstrokes was a mistake, but I guarantee at least one of them was. That changed the whole course of the thing. So be it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, yeah, I enjoy like the balance and everything. So this is very like satisfying to look at.
Oh, I do stuff like this to maintain my sanity. So
I believe that.
Yeah, most certainly. That's exactly how this works. And like these 3, and then there's another one hidden behind the ottoman there that are brand new.
Oh, nice.
That I've done the last 2 months, I think.
Nice.
But yeah, order to the chaos. And so I can make it to work on time and not kill my coworkers.
I feel that.
They appreciate it, trust me.
I feel that. It was like it's been about a year now. I made a big job change in order to focus on painting more, because I found myself like coming home from like my prior job and just being like, I'm so drained, I don't have any time to paint. Mm-hmm. And that's just like, I'm going to be a miserable human being if I don't paint.
Mm-hmm. Like, I need to do this for everybody else's benefit and my own.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
So what context or style or aesthetic would you say you've developed or maintained?
I had somebody one time call myself like macabrely beautiful, which I like. I don't know if that's quite accurate, because I don't feel like my work is macabre. I paint a lot of skulls, but I feel like it's more so that beauty of like balance between life and death. And I feel like that's what I try to achieve, is like a little bit of realism with like a hint of spiritual, if that makes sense.
A hint, a sprinkling of.
Yeah, just a sprinkling of. Like, in my paintings, like, I research the plants I'm putting in to make sure that, like, their spiritual connotation is, like, pointing toward what I'm trying to emphasize. Like, my second to last finished piece was called Inner Child Work, and it was a rib cage with baby birds in it, and it was surrounded in, gosh, I can't think of what the flowers are called now. It's a beautiful spring flower. But I chose that flower because it like is that fresh renewal, that inspiration, that new beginning, like that emphasis of spring, kind of like healing from our past traumas so we can start anew. And that's like the crocuses, that's the flower.
There you go. Came around to it.
Yes, I was like, I'm a big botany nerd, so like I research all my species. Like, I'm working on this painting right now. It's a commission I was given, like, the word that they're looking for is just live oak trees. And so I was like, so can live oaks and dogwoods grow in the same, like, growing zone? Like, are they going to be found in the same biosphere? And, like, I do all that sort of research before I put plants together. Just so dorky, but, like...
Well, I mean, being thorough never hurts.
Yeah.
And if it's satisfying for you as part of the creative process to learn these things, then I don't see any issue with it.
Yeah, it adds to it for me. I'm like, also there's science in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it covers all the bases.
Yes.
So, do you have plant people friends
Oh yeah.
that you have these conversations with too?
Oh yeah.
Call them up at 2 a.m. like, hey, I need to put this plant in this painting. Is this going to work?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And like, it's funny because I'll like find all these new species through tunneling down, like looking at different plants, and then I'll be like, hey, I just found this like Japanese version of a magnolia. Like, you need to look at this flower. Like, it's beautiful.
And then they're like, yeah, I've got posters of it all over my house.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, that's in the like so and so family of this genus, and I'm like, I don't know it like that, but isn't she pretty?
Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know about those words, but look at it.
Yeah, exactly. I was a greenhouse management major. So yeah. I was like, I also used to landscape full time, so like very, very into plants.
Well, it would help if you're going to paint them a lot.
Yes.
So, why the skulls and the plants?
I think I've always had like a fascination with like bones and stuff coming from like when I was a kid. Like, if I found like skulls and like creeks and stuff that I was playing, and like I was
Just drag them back to the house and be like, hey, look at this crazy stuff.
Absolutely. Like,
leave that outside.
I know. My mom hates it. My favorite is last time I moved, she flew in to help me, and I just had all these boxes that just said dead stuff. She was like, I hate this.
It's like, you're carrying this one. Yeah.
Oh, I did it specifically to annoy her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just comes from that. Like, there's just this like inseparable thing about me that I see everything as that balance of life and death, of dark and light. So the two are so like inseparable that I like to continuously put them in paintings together to show that like contrast and oneness.
So the theme, the duality of it is really entertaining to you.
Absolutely. You have to have balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I find my balance, is dead things and plants.
Flowers. Dead things. What keeps me sane, dead things and plants.
Exactly. And like each painting, I'm kind of like working through different animals too. That like I pick the animal for its spiritual connotations. Like, I just finished one of a goat skull because I was looking for something like hard-headed and fierce and stern.
That'd do it.
Yeah. And like before that, I did a bobcat skull. That one's off to a new home, and I couldn't be happier.
Sweet.
But yeah, so it's like I pick my animals and my plants together.
Now, does that happen from one end of the thought process to the other? Like, is this linear, or is it like, oh, hey, this thing, this animal, what would go with it, or would it be, I'm here. This thing reminds me of this plant. What animal could I pair with it? Does it go back and forth, or is it always from one to the other, whatever direction that may be?
It's usually like I'll start with the animal, and then I'll kind of start like feeling out my color palette, and then I'll be like, you know what this needs, like, and I'll add like a splash of this and a splash of that, and it's almost like I just, as like the piece starts forming, because I don't know, I feel like these images more so come to me rather than I logically create them.
Ooh, that's an excellent thing to say, and that leads me to one of my favorite questions.
Yes.
What could you put a number or a ratio on things that come to you versus things you genuinely say you created yourself? So is it like 60-40, 70-30, 50-50 versus ideas that come to you versus ideas that are yours?
I would say 70-30. 70 come to me, 30 are mine. I would say like my block printing and more of like the stuff I bring to markets, like jewelry and like coming from like a market standpoint, almost like my 25 and under price points. Those are things that I make where I'm like, oh, this would be cool. Let me like assemble these things almost like collaging, where I find things and then like I logically put them together in a way that looks good. My paintings, those are gifts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
gifts.
gifts.
I like that.
Yeah, my signature is a sigil that means like let inspiration fall continuously.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's just a tiny prayer that this won't be the last piece I'm given.
I would have to say in my experience of being one of these creative type people that 70-30 is probably a pretty good guess most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, you just have these ideas hit you that you have no idea where they came from. And they just like smack you across the face like, I'm here now, bitch. What are you going to do?
Oh, yeah.
And you just have to paint the thing or draw the thing or do something about it. And then others are just like, oh, I'm going to sit down and do this. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I feel like the 30%, I don't get as much joy out of it either.
I find a lot of joy in executing the thing that I feel confidently executing. The thing I see in my head is some semblance to the thing that ended up on the physical object I'm working on. So that's nice. I always feel accomplished. But there's definitely a difference between the things that come to you and the things that you generate yourself. I feel like you can look at, if you know a person well enough, you can be like, that wasn't your idea, but it looks really good. That's not a thing you would come up with. How did you do this?
You're like, this isn't you.
Right. And I don't say that in like a derogatory way, but people's styles aren't always as consistent as they would like them to be. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those things stand out.
Oh yeah. And I think finding your own style is so hard. I had this whole like mental war with myself on like referring to myself as an artist. Up until I think last year was the year I was finally like, no, I am an artist. Like, this is my thing. This is finally what I realized. This is what I'm good at.
Right.
I need to stop wearing other hats because these don't suit me.
Yes.
But I think that was like the hardest thing, is because I don't feel like I had a definitive style. But I guess I didn't know my craft well enough, nor myself well enough at that time. And now it's like I stand proudly behind my work, whereas before I used to be like, ooh, I don't know.
Like you would timidly say that I made this instead of being like, I made this.
This is me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I still get that like timid. There's still that like artist like self-loathing that we all grapple with. Where it's
we all carry with us every day. Yeah.
It's that whole I'm a genius, I'm a worm, back and forward constantly.
I mean, I can say in my work that the things that are the pretty things I see in my head are very different from social commentary or political commentary things, the less tangible real life aspects of things I wish to communicate, like the piece with the fist holding the rose there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't look anything like what we've got laid up against the wall here. So that's the like real life commentary things that I'm actively thinking about in my brain,
Mm-hmm.
and these kind of things are the things that my brain passively presents to me when I have free time inside my skull.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can see that because I wouldn't think, like, I wouldn't put those two things together.
that piece is a part of a series of like 5 pieces. This is
Oh,
another
cool.
one of it that it was all based on socio-economic political commentary stuff,
Yeah.
which is not necessarily my wheelhouse because I like making just objectively pretty things,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you just got to do. I had things to say, so I painted them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a small section of the things that are just strictly of my own genesis, and then this is the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That 70%.
Yeah, this is the 70%. Yeah, exactly. And then pieces like this and that one are the 30% for sure.
I think like my 30%, I think that's why I struggle with commission work so bad, is just like I'm given context to work within, and I don't feel like as inspired by it. I don't often take commissions. I have one right now I'm very excited about.
That's a
But-
plus.
Huh?
That's a plus. Being
Yeah.
excited about it.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about this piece. James, I hope you listen to this so then you can know how excited I am. But yeah, I definitely struggle. Like commission work, I'll have like a 2-month deadline, and then I'll be like, I'm gonna wait until 3 days before.
It's like 6 weeks in. I haven't even touched the thing I'm going to paint this on yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's how I was in college, dude.
I feel like that happens a lot in the formal education department.
Absolutely. I was like, my best work is always at 3 a.m. Like, let's be real.
I've tried to move that 3 a.m. work to like 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
because it works way better for my daytime life schedule now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way.
That's fair.
No, never. I hate that it's the 3 a.m. stuff too because I need to be doing that shit at like 10,
Yeah.
real bad.
Like
But it's never
prime time.
Yeah, when normal people are doing normal things, not degenerate things that I should be doing otherwise.
My problem is like my best time to paint is like 11 p.m. And then I'll get really caught in a painting. Like I call it flow state. Like,
All right, let's go there.
Yep.
What's a good creative day for you look like?
ooh. So typically I'll sit down at my easel around like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, with iced coffee because
Oh
I'm
God,
an absolute crazy person. I will drink coffee all times of the day. Right now I'm trying mushroom coffee to like ease my addiction because it's not good.
Is it mud water? I've tried the
Yeah.
mud water.
I'm trying mud water right now. I actually love it.
It's tasty, yeah.
It is. And I
We are
actually-
not sponsored by mud water.
No, we are not. I just love it. So I have been trying that. Like I only had half a cup of coffee today instead of my normal pot, which is
That's a big
fantastic.
plus, yeah.
That's a big plus. So typically I'll sit down at my easel around like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then paint till 2 in the morning.
I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. So
Really?
a good creative day for me looks like I wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then go sit down at my table and work on whatever on the opposite end of the clock. So it's like, it'll be from like 7:30 to 2 or whatever, and I find myself like thirsty and hungry and have a headache, and I'm like, I'm a person. I need to go like take care of this. What the hell have I been doing? And then I look down at the table, and then there's this thing I just made, but where'd the time go? It's been 6 hours, and I haven't drank anything. So that's usually when I remember that I'm a human and need to go like consume water and food.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Like I almost say like when I'm in a manic creative stage, like when I'm really into a painting, I just forget to eat
Mhm.
for hours on end.
Yeah.
But it's just like that doesn't matter. Getting out what's in my head matters way more.
And when you're in the flow state, like what you're gonna make for breakfast or dinner doesn't matter.
I don't want to eat.
Right, because
I'll
you
just
just
go
want
get
to
like
do.
a slice of bread. Like I'm not better than that.
I don't know, man. That's a weird one, and I'm happy to hear that you achieve flow state things in your process because I feel kind of sad for people that don't. Not that that's a good or a bad thing. It's just it's helped me a lot, and it's
Mm-hmm.
helpful for other people. And I just don't see how some people don't find it in their creative process somehow.
Yeah, that's honestly, I feel like that's the drug I chase. I'm looking for my flow state. That's why I wake up every day.
Well, do you do any like physical things like exercise or ride a skateboard or
Oh yeah.
run or any of those things?
Yeah,
So,
I love hiking. That's actually why I moved to the south. Is because I wanted to be closer to the mountains. I love rock climbing. I love swimming. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Like I love cliff jumping. I used to ride motorcycles. Like big adrenaline girl. Probably why I drink a pot of coffee and feel nothing.
yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of my thing with like my health being the way it is right now. I'm hoping to get back to it soon once I'm allowed. But that's kind of like my big thing.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'd hate to keep anybody off a motorcycle.
Oh my god.
you know.
I love riding. I sold mine when I moved here and I'm waiting until I'm like at a point to buy another one. Um to me, like that's one of the most freeing feelings. Is
Oh,
to
I can
ride a
only imagine.
motorcycle.
I have a longboard that I carve around on, and I love it. I don't go bombing any hills or nothing because I'm not trying to splatter my brains on the sidewalk. But I'll take it and I'll go downtown or hit a parking garage or something, and just like scoot around and not have to think about anything for a little while. It's really nice.
Oh yeah. I used to longboard. I ripped this whole eyebrow off. Longboarding. So
Oh, that's a story. Let's
I
hear
retired.
that. Your whole eyebrow.
My whole eyebrow. This whole eyebrow, my left eyebrow is brand new.
A brand new eyebrow.
Yeah.
So it's straight from the factory.
Straight from the factory.
No mileage.
She's crisp.
Oh my god. I like to say I have a buddy that can get people low mileage toes if they need some new low mileage toes, but a new eyebrow is a new one on me.
I mean, I got pretty lucky. Yeah, it was pretty bad. My whole eyebrow was gone, and I remember like
You
driving.
just peel it backwards, like on the street.
Yeah, like it was just gone. It was gone. Part of my stomach like was gone.
You got some serious road rash then, huh?
I got some serious road rash. Have you ever had road rash?
Yes, it sucks. I hate it.
Did they take the spiked sponge to you?
No, but I feel like they did everything but that. For our listeners, can you please describe that sponge?
So basically, what happened with me, I had like rocks all in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like literally, imagine your sponge you wash your dishes with, but like with tiny, like soft plastic spikes on it. Almost like a cat hair brush, but out of plastic. And then they just like rake gravel out of your skin. Yeah.
Sounds pleasant.
It was a time. I survived, and then they sewed a new eyebrow on. Not like they didn't put the hair back on, but they had to like sew it together. So then I had an eyebrow made out of stitches for like 2 weeks. It was cute.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, it was pretty cute.
I mean, I would have posted that on the internet for sure.
Oh, my parents made this is back when I was like 19. My parents used to like drag me out to make fun of me to their friends.
You're kidding.
No.
Such good parents.
I know.
Both of them, was it the cooperative thing?
It was a cooperative thing. They thought it was hilarious.
Oh man.
They're like,
look at our daughter. She screwed herself up on the skateboard. Ha ha ha.
basically.
Oh god.
As I'm like missing patches out of my stomach and knees, and I'm like, thanks guys, appreciate y'all.
Right, yeah. It's like, the amount of bandages I have does not make this funnier.
No. I'm accident prone, and so I think at this point my family's all just like, like Amy did it again.
Right. When you call and you're like, hey, and they're like, what was it this time?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of have that role in my family too, not gonna lie.
Yep.
Yeah. I know exactly what that's like. So, good creative day, covered that base. Do you have any, this is kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
Do you have influences, other artists, nature, whatever it may be, that find its way into your work versus inspirations that you have that don't find their way into your work?
I mean, I think clearly as any like passionate female painter, obviously I'm a huge Frida fan. I love her work. Um, I read like a 600-page biography on her last summer and it like changed my life. So I think you'll see hints of me being inspired by her. I'm also a huge fan of Muka. Do you know Alphonse Muka?
I have a shower curtain
Ugh.
of the moon goddess.
Ugh. I love his work. Like one of my dreams is to go to Prague and see his like history of Czechoslovakia collection. Which I'm Czech, so I'm like very like that's so cool. So I think like I'm actually working on a piece inspired by him right now. It's one of those. It's gonna take me like 6 months probably. Also, I take a lot of inspiration from tarot. Um, there's like I just sold my biggest painting ever. Thank you so much, Liz, for taking him home. He was based off of the Hermit and the Eight of Discs cards. And so like you'll see a lot of like tarot references in my work.
So esoterica is a wheelhouse of yours.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. It's my obsession with death, not give it away.
Well, that's esotericism and well, I won't say those are like super mutually exclusive,
Yeah, that's fair.
but they often ride in the same truck. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
They're very commonly associated.
So I was like over last summer slash I mean I guess it took me it was part of a 3-part series. The third was like this 4-foot painting of like a cloaked figure with a skull holding the lantern like the Hermit. And then I had the Eight of Discs kind of like worked into the background. And I think you'll see a lot of like esoteric themes in my work in some of my more symbolic pieces just because like I've read my own tarot cards for 10 years. So it's kind of like I easily work those symbols in because that's how I've like shaped
Right,
my brain.
they're in your head and they get tossed around a lot.
Exactly. So like right now I'm working on a huge piece that she's on the shelf right now because it was too heavy for me to work on for a little while. I'm going to let her stew before I finish it. And it's kind of like a tarot Muka inspired woman, like bending fire and water together.
I can understand how that could be badass.
Yeah.
Run it.
I was like, I gotta like sit on her for a little bit and become a better painter to finish it.
Yeah. Is that, when you have ideas hit you like that, do you normally just kind of let them marinate in your mind for a little while?
Yeah, some of them, like, I'll get that first flash where I'm like, this is what it's gonna be. And then I'll get, like right now, I'd say, like, the canvas is probably, like, this big. And I have, like, the woman and, like, the base of the background done. And then I'm like, I'm not ready to finish this. I don't know if, like, I need to grow as a person more or I need the idea to bake a little harder before I get the rest of the image in my head.
So, how do you know when it's done?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one because I
Yeah.
struggle with this too. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I was like, that's tough. I started...
Well, I mean, done in your head to actually
Done in
start
my
painting.
head.
Not done on the canvas, but done digesting the idea. Ma'am, do you have any input?
She has a lot of input.
You stick a microphone in the cat's face and all of a sudden she shuts up. How about that? But yeah, how do you know when the idea is done in your head?
That's kind of... I think... I don't even know if I know if it's done in my head.
Well, the air quotes done.
The done. I almost feel compelled to work on that piece. It's almost like an insatiable need to pull it back out. Like, especially if it's like on the shelf, it'll be like, I can't think about anything else. Like right now, one of my paintings I'm like really into and it's just like, I don't want to really do anything else. This is what I want to do.
That's the majority of your focus right now.
Yeah,
I
and
get
it's like
that.
almost like I start to fiend. I'm like,
Yes.
like I'm so grateful to my boyfriend. We're like, he's very good about doing parallel play with me because sometimes I'm like, I just like I want to see you, but I really need to work on this piece.
Yeah, so you do you over there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's so sweet. He'll play video games while I paint. Like it's great.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it's almost like something in my chest compels me to start working, and then the piece kind of like falls out. Knowing when it's done on the canvas, though, is almost like...
Is equally difficult.
Yeah. I have like a rule with myself where as soon as I sign it, I'm allowed one more session of touch up, and then I'm not allowed to touch
Ooh,
that
that's a
painting
good
ever
rule.
again. Yes.
That's a good rule.
Would recommend, because it helps you move on.
Yeah, that's fair. I try to say once. I try. Okay, so I normally forget to sign the stuff until I'm like about to sell it, and I'm like seeing somebody handle it. Oh yeah, let me sign that before.
Really, hold on.
Yeah, exactly. But the tipping point for me is if I feel like I touch it one more time, am I going to screw it up?
Fair.
Like if I get to that point where I don't know what to do next, or if I do this again, am I going to not be happy about it? And that's usually the point where I'm like throwing my hands up, feeling defeated, like fine, I guess it's done. I don't want to screw it up more than I already have, that kind of thing. So that's usually where I draw that line, or where that line falls in my work.
I feel
One of the
like
two.
my brushes start from being big to like tiny, 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 tiny. And when I'm working with the tiny baby one, like
You're like, this is it. This
this
is fine.
it.
This
I'm
is
like,
enough.
this is the tiniest brush I own. It's over after this.
So a lot of the brushes I use for this kind of stuff are all similarly sized. So every now and again I'll whip out like a 1 inch kind of like angled brush kind of thing. I'm just like, man, this is weird. This brush is huge.
Oh my god, I just got this it's like probably 1.5 inches in diameter, like a mop brush. Have you ever used one of those?
I've never used for food.
For food, yeah.
For food.
Oh my god, this thing is ridiculous. And like the first thing I did was screw up a painting with it because it holds so much water, and I didn't realize. But I'm like,
So the first time you like drop it down like
it was just like leaking all down the painting, and I was like, and it was on wood too, and I was
oh
like,
no.
so I had to like very quickly like take out rags and like wipe it off.
So that being said, you paint a lot on like cross sections of limbs and stuff, like wooden pieces. Like what size normally is what you're working on?
Say like 8 inches. About 8 inches. I used to do really small ones where they were like 5-inch wood cookies.
Wood cookies.
Yes, wood cookies.
All right.
And then I started to get tendonitis so bad.
Working on the
tiny baby things. Because how I started like almost building Junedog art was I used to do pet portraits on little tiny ornament sized wood cookies. And like there was one winter where I just kept getting order after order after order. And like I got tendonitis so bad that I was like, no more dogs. I'm done. Don't ask me to paint any more dogs.
But pet portraits are so lucrative.
They are so lucrative, but God, I just get so bored. She was like, paint a portrait of me, please.
Yeah.
I was like, I really want to paint a portrait of my cat.
Draw me like one of your French cats.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I'll get a really good reference photo of her, like golden hour, sitting in the windowsill.
Oh.
And I really want to do that, but I don't think, if I'm being totally honest, I don't know if my skills as a painter are technically that proficient.
It's hard. Like fur is so difficult.
Yeah, the translucency of the like outer parts of her fur and the light shining through that. It's almost like you have to put an extra coating of white or yellow or something on whatever it is. It's so strange.
There's what brand paint do you use?
I use acrylics, golden acrylics, and Montana spray cans and Cobra spray cans. If I'm doing walls.
I've used a little Montana because I'm starting to incorporate spray paint in my work. Not there yet. I'm not talented enough with a spray can yet.
I don't have any real examples of how I've used it in this stack, but it's something I'm playing with to make more like color gradients and randomized patterns.
Smart.
And it's fast for those kind of things.
It's like I've been using it to like get like a haze in the background. But I use Liquitex Basics. Like, I'm not bougie by any means. I love Liquitex paints.
They're good paints. I
They
just
have a
don't usually buy them
transparent
most of the time. Ooh.
It's so good. I was thinking that when you were talking about, like, the little wisps of her fur.
Yeah, that would work.
Because you can almost add, like, little highlights and little wisps. But it's not, like, a full opaque white. It's transparent.
Yeah.
So you can, like, build it up. That's, like, right now I'm adding fog to things. And so I just use that mop brush and like splatter it on and like rub it and like build it up. Would recommend.
One of the also like really silly things that I've used that probably I guess doesn't get used in this way that often. It's the marble effect spray from Montana. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like silly string, and it makes like this randomized fiber pattern. It it mimics marble stone, but it makes a really good random like stringy sort of pattern on a background, and I use it for that, especially on a small scale when you're not like doing big square footage that you need to make look like actual whatever. Just as a little abstract application, it works great, and I love it. I'll put like a 2 or 3 color gradient, and then that stuff comes in, I think black or white, and I'll get black or white on top of that, and then do that kind of pinstripey work on top of all that, and it looks really cool.
That's really interesting. I've never done that. I'm like terrible. I love paint splatters and I love paint drips. So like my poor balcony, I I put yep. I'm like I'm terrible. But I put like a tarp out and I just like splash paint everywhere, and usually I'm covered in it. Man,
I mean, I paint in these particular shorts a lot, so there's just like little spots of primer and junk all over these shorts. I think I have one shirt right now that doesn't have paint on it.
Yep.
And it's the one I just bought and haven't painted in yet. And I will eventually paint in this shirt, and it will forever have paint on it after that.
My stuff goes from the nice stuff to like mild paint to full painter's clothes. There's a downgrade.
I don't think I own a single pair of jogging pants without paint on them. I'm pretty sure they all have paint on them, because I like get it on my fingers and go, like wipe it across, or like I'll have the brush in my hand in some funky position, put my hand down, and all of a sudden there's a brush stroke on my pants, like that kind of shit. Just say absent-minded, I'm gonna just do this, and then all of a sudden, there's paint on me. Fuck,
I understand completely.
'Tis the life. 'Tis the life.
I always think it's funny. Like I'll go to like something nice. I use my legs as a palette a lot. It just because I feel like I have more control that way. And I'll like not be paying attention, and I'll go somewhere in shorts and look down, and my whole leg is like red,
covered
and
in paint.
And I'm like, we had a late night last night.
Oh, and that doesn't raise any more questions. That solves everything right there.
Everyone's like, I'm assuming you're an artist. I'm like,
you don't want to know.
Yeah. I'm like, I only have a little bit on me.
I'll tell you, but you wouldn't believe me.
The tattoos don't give it away, right?
No, not at all. No. None. Because so many different people have tattoos now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's a good indicator. It's definitely a good place to start.
I was like, that's like, I don't know. I'm glad they're more like societally accepted these days.
When your barber and your chef have more tattoos than your tattoo artist, the world's a funny thing again.
Yeah,
so
truly.
Yeah, a lot of the like well-to-do chefs that I've met in the last couple of years have been really heavily tattooed, and gauged ears and piercings, and I'm just like, man, all right, you can tell they keep you in the back. But that's by choice, because these are usually the people that run the restaurant, so whatever. It's their gig.
I was like, hey, it's because this generation's finally taking over.
Right, yeah. That's what it is. Like, nobody cares unless you've got like a swastika on your forehead.
My favorite, I used to be a manager, and I remember I was interviewing a kid, and he's just like, do you guys care about tattoos? And I'm like, I have like a full sleeve and a chest piece, and like both were open.
You just look at him, you're like, dude.
I know, I was like, yes, we care. That's why I'm interviewing you right now. Like,
you're like,
read the room.
What ugly shit you got, dude? Let's see it.
Yeah. I was like, you could have paid more for that.
And did he put himself on the spot like that? Did he have any like racy tattoos?
No.
Nothing visible that would cause a stare?
No. He was just very young.
I had my previous employer had like a no facial piercings thing, and I have my septum pierced. Boss come up to me one day. I'd been working there for like 2 weeks. He's like, I noticed you got a nose ring. I was like, yeah, thanks for being vigilant. Appreciate that. He said, well, it's not allowed, right? And I said, yeah, I do, and I don't give a shit. Here's why. The first time you have a little old lady come up to you and say, I ruined her experience because this dude has a nose ring, I'll think about taking it out. But until some little old lady comes up to you and complains specifically about my nose ring, I don't want to hear shit. Never heard nothing about it after that.
I was like, yeah, I've never heard a single thing about any of my like work, except for when my mom comes to town and she's just like, you got more tattoos. But this is just both of our lives at this point.
Yeah, Mom, every now and again I spend money on not food and water in my house.
I was like, I pay my rent on time. What do you want from me, woman?
Yeah, right. It's like I'm quote unquote a productive member of society. Leave me alone.
Yes, absolutely. I was like, and my mom is the one who got like boardwalk tattoos in South Carolina.
Oh my
I don't
God.
want to hear anything.
Yeah. It's like if you need to know the definition of a hypocrite,
Yes.
there's a mirror in the bathroom. That's hilarious. And neither of my parents have tattoos, so they still look at me a little sideways when I get a new one.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I got was a Zamboni. And I come home and I show my dad. I was like, hey, look, I got a new tattoo. And I pull my arm up, He's like, the hell is that? Zamboni? And I was like, yes, that's exactly what this is. It is a Zamboni. I'm glad you recognize. Because I did that for a couple of years at the Coliseum for the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, damn, this is so cool. I need a Zamboni tattoo. So I hit up my artist and I was just like, hey man, you ever drawn a Zamboni before? And he's like, I've never once drawn a Zamboni. So I was like, do it up. Let's go. I need a Zamboni tattoo. So like a month later I had a Zamboni tattoo.
That's awesome.
Dude, yeah. We were sitting, I was on the table and he was just like, as long as it looks generally like this, it'll be all right. And got to the chair, did the thing, and I was like, you're missing one thing. And it was a little handle on an access panel under the hopper to like service the engine. And then it was perfect. So my 2-hour session to get a Zamboni on my arm ended up primo
Perfect.
spot on. I love it. Yeah. It's the most recent tattoo, but it's high on the list of favorite tattoos right now.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to get is the Untitled Goose Game Goose. But,
Oh, nice.
but with a knife in its mouth.
Nice.
Yeah, gonna have to do that.
Nice. That's awesome.
I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I'm definitely getting it. So,
Awesome.
I've got lots of open real estate. It'll be all right. I'm stoked.
I'm stoked for you.
Oh, man. I've been thinking about getting that particular thing tattooed on me for a while. It's just going to be like black and white line art, so it'll be super simple and quick, but I love it. It's so dumb.
I was like, and those are the best tattoos.
They really are. And, I don't have any birds tattooed on me yet, so this will be my first bird tattoo,
Nice.
It's a very violent, cantankerous, chaos-causing bird. I'm really here for it, to be completely honest.
I have a couple birds on my back, and then I have this bird skull right here. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of really nice work on you.
Yeah, I go to Orange Blossom Tattoo in Clinton. Shannon's my tattoo artist. She's incredible. Like,
In Clinton?
yep, in Clinton.
All right, cool.
Yeah, she's awesome. I was like, I want her to do both of my legs completely.
Like, here's flesh, mark it.
I know,
Mark it up.
basically. I was like, please just take my legs. Like, where I found my artist, I'm happy.
Take my legs. I don't need them.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I couldn't be happier with her work. I don't know. I feel the more art I have on my body, the more I feel at home.
Yeah,
Very
that's
much
fair.
like hanging art at home.
I don't like not having ink, and I don't like the idea of not getting more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been toying with the idea of doing a whole tattoo shop podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to find the right shop to
Oh yeah,
say, hey, yeah, we want to do this.
that would be awesome.
I'm putting it out in the universe. I've said it a few times. We'll see what happens.
Manifesting.
Maybe. Somebody's going to have to meet me in the middle, and that somebody's going to be like 5 people. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to, beg anybody to do it, but if they're excited about it, then we'll meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how it works out. And then, I reach out to strangers on the internet, and it's just like, hey, will you come talk into my microphone for an hour? And some people are like, hell yeah! Well, it works out.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, sure, man.
You're definitely one of the many people that gave me an enthusiastic yes to a stranger on the internet.
Well, I know you interviewed Esther. Esther's
I
like
did.
a friend of mine.
Okay.
And so that's why I was like, a stranger on the internet asked me to be on their podcast. What do you think? And she was like, oh yeah, he was really nice.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I was like, she's a great person.
Yeah,
love
I
that
enjoyed my
person.
conversation with her. It was a little more technical than I normally get, but that's fine. It was still good stuff.
I was like, she's just like very talented and knows her stuff. I'm like, I'm very much self-taught, other than like graphic design.
Yeah, she's very confident in her workflows, which is nice to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
She's
all
gonna go
the
far.
painting the shoes and the prices and the accessories and whatnot has been really entertaining for me to watch her do.
Oh
And it
yeah,
seems to be really fruitful for her, so it all works out.
absolutely.
She made those tall boots the other day with the flowers going up the outside of the boots and
Awesome.
on the toe. Yeah, I was like, yes, boots. Like,
This is absolutely a plug
yeah,
for Esther.sketch.
yeah. Go buy her painted on clothing things or anything else she might sell. As a former guest on the podcast, go support the peoples.
Yes.
Um, so what are you working on right now? You got any work in progress other than the commission piece?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple things. Working on that big, like, Muka Tarot inspired one. Right now, so what I'm going to be working on this weekend is a piece that's been on the shelf for a long time. And I finally, like, I looked at it, I think, like, last Friday night, and was like, it's time. Yeah. So I really like working on wood. It's a bit different than working on canvas
Mm-hmm.
just because you have to like prep the surface, but also like I love working with wood stains and stuff like that. Like I do woodworking, I use like scroll saws and other things if I want to like cut holes out and this and that. So I'm working on a piece that's like these really moody clouds with like a golden ring behind it, and I'm painting like some hands and leaves over it this weekend. I picked this like really lovely dark wood stain that I'm really excited about. It's like a super super dark walnut almost. Um, so I'm working on that right now. I have taken a step back from epoxy for a while just because of like the cat hair.
Yeah, shout out to the top of the episode when we bitched about cat hair. Also, it's really more intensive of a process than I think a lot of people realize because it takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of messy. You need a lot of auxiliary materials to really make it nice.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that's a whole ordeal when you start messing with resin.
It's so much work. And like I gained like a little bit of trend on the internet for I was doing these pieces that like I had no idea if this was gonna work or not. I was cutting holes into wooden boards and then filling it with epoxy and like watercolor paintings and leaves and flowers and stuff like that, like making these compositions. And I want to do some more of those. Like, thank you to everyone who's bought those pieces. Like, they're sold out. Um, but like the amount of mental breakdowns that go into a single one of those pieces.
Like the koi fish and stuff that are painted layer by layer in the bowls and all that kind
I
of thing.
can't even
Like
imagine.
you paint an eighth of an inch. Each of these layers is like an eighth of an inch apart when you look
Mm-hmm.
down in it. So there's like I don't know, 30 layers on some of this stuff, and you have to let each one of those cure for 18 to 36 hours, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take you a month to paint a fish that's like 3 inches long.
And then if you try to sell it, someone's like $60 is too expensive. And you're
Yeah,
like, this took me
it's like I don't know who to strangle about this.
yeah,
Me, you, like
everyone involved.
yeah. It's like
But
never make me do this again.
yeah, and that's like my process. Like I have to basically build little molds for each piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I've like ruined so many tabletops because like the seal doesn't hold, and then
And
I've
it'll
got wet
leak out.
epoxy
Yeah.
everywhere. And then I'm over here with my freaking heat gun trying to get all the bubbles out, and then one cat hair's in there, so now I got to do it all over again. And like it's so beautiful when it's done. There's like one piece that I'm keeping specifically for myself, but then everything else is I've sold. And I'd like to get back to it at some point. It's just emotionally, I'm not ready.
Yeah, it's. I hate when you do everything right on the front end and you come in the next day to look at the thing and how it's cured and something messed up.
Yeah.
You just shake your fist at the sky.
And it's like, do I want to just add more to the top? Like I was working on these ones last month where I took actual wood cookies and then I hollowed them out. And then I'd processed a really beautiful woodpecker that I found. Um, so I do a little bit of bone processing. Not very good at it yet just because I don't have the space. But I had processed this woodpecker and taken a lot of its feathers, and I had like all its feathers sealed in epoxy with like paintings of like bird skulls and like leaves and stuff. and then all the epoxy got messed up. So then I just kept adding more and more, and now I'm like, I think I'm just gonna throw it away. Like, this is such a cool idea, but I hate it.
Well,
I never
and
wanna
then
look
at that
again.
point, like, all the other materials, like, where are you going to find another skeleton? Where are you going to find that batch of feathers again? Like,
Exactly.
damn it.
This
Yeah.
is like one of a kind.
Yeah.
And that's like the problem with this kind of art. It is one of a kind. Like, I use things that I find in nature that I can
Yeah,
never
you
find
can't just
again.
sell prints of that.
No,
No.
no. And I can't just like go harvest woodpeckers. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely not.
And it's not like you know, I know the mom and pop shop down the street that just keeps stocked on woodpecker skeletons. You know, it's not one of those things.
No, absolutely not. And like, yeah, there's the whole like, I don't really like. I want to do all my bones myself. That way, it's more ethical. Like, I do the processing. I find them like
Right.
in a natural death.
That way you know that everything about this as responsible as it can possibly be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want any abuse. Like, I'm not into hunting. Like, uh.
Sometimes you can hear cars go by. And when my windows are open in my super secret studio location, it's more entertaining. A couple weeks ago, there was a fellow rode by the house on his dirt bike, and he was doing a wheelie. It was really loud and obnoxious, and it caught on tape here, and it was just like, man, if you weren't doing that wheelie, I'd be really upset with you right now.
He was being too cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, he going up the hill doing a wheelie. I was like, hell yeah, brother. And then I was like, damn, I got that on tape. It all worked out, though.
I've been trying to record, like, painting time lapses, and I just get, like, so frustrated when I get to the end of a filming session, and I will look at the quality, and I'm like, you can't see shit that I'm doing.
Well, as long as you can see progress, I guess it's not so bad. I mean, considering that's the main goal of the time lapse.
Yeah.
I forget, and then like my camera will die because I've been working on it too long, or my memory goes out 20 minutes before I thought I was or should be done. So yeah, that's great. You catch something, but it's not all the thing you thought you were capturing.
And it doesn't end up looking as cool as you thought it was going to be.
No, it's just me like scratching my beard for 10 minutes and like, like doing a bunch of this and like rubbing my face and thinking about stuff. Look real brooding.
Mine's a lot of me petting my cat, and then I'm like, "Whoops, sorry guys."
Yeah, I got into the rabbit hole of petting the cat. Well, I mean, some people might like time lapse cat pets. I don't know.
I mean, the like videos I show my cat, I feel like get more attention, and I'm like, I get it. She's beautiful.
I mean, they are cats. It's like the currency of the internet. Almost.
Yeah, it is true. She's definitely like. She grew up sitting on the side of my easel when I would paint. Like, she's very much a painter's cat. Like, she loves studio time because she'll, like, lay on my shoulders while I work and, like...
When I'm on my computer doing the digital stuff, she'll either sit, like, right in front of my feet or right behind my feet when they're, popped up against the floor. Or sometimes, if I have my feet on the cross brace of the back of my table, she'll try to jump up on my lap and then like go lay between my knees.
Oh.
And I'm sitting here trying to do coordinated tasks and like very minute, complicated things. She's just like, meow, like smacking at me and shit. I'm like, look, I'm trying to work. Like, if you're coming up here, get up here, quit wasting my time. Like, make a decision. Come on. And then she always walks away.
It's the life of a cat.
Thanks.
That's in my next life. I want to be a spoiled house cat.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. But most days when I wake up, I'm just like, I'd rather be a dog.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I don't know. I don't have any really hard, points about this other than the fact that I would probably be happy either a cat or a dog. Just in some way where I could maintain a fulfilled life and I didn't have to participate in human society.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to think about taxes.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal.
I don't want to be a creature without thumbs and have a day job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be a police dog. Fuck that.
No, absolutely not.
I don't want to have to work at the airport. I just want to be a dog.
Yeah.
Can I be the neighborhood dog where like I have a lot of happy homes to go frequent? Sometimes they leave cool stuff out on the porch for me. Whatever.
Not a bad life.
See,
God.
no.
I don't know. Me and a neighborhood dog has to be so stressful because like I'm somebody that, like, if I see a neighborhood dog, I have to catch it because I'm worried it's, like, lost.
Somebody's dog.
Yeah, I found a dog named Booger last week.
Booger.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was one of the happiest moments of the last month of my life. Is I actually caught this dog and he looked like his name would be Booger.
And his name was Booger.
Yeah. It was awesome and I loved every second of it.
So how does one catch a booger?
Honestly, it was
That's
way
what I thought I
easier
was
than
gonna
it
say
should have
today.
been. He literally, he was like this little, like, old pug mix. And he was just, like, trotting down the street and he had a really bad underbite. And he, like, ran through my boyfriend's backyard. And so, like, I run out the backyard after him. And then he's just trotting down the street.
Wait, come back, let me love you.
I know. Like, literally down the sidewalk, just, like, sniffing the flowers on his way. And then I go to pick him up and he growls at me. And I was like, don't do that, man. And then he looked at me and I just picked him up.
Oh, goodness.
And then I found him back to his home. He got like 8 blocks away from home. Apparently he's like neighborhood famous. So like some other lady was like, oh, I know that dog.
Oh, my God. He gets out of that yard all the time.
Yeah, she knew him by name. She was like, oh, that's Booger. I was like, what?
Here you go.
I know. I was like, because back home, I used to live next to a park that was like famous for people just dumping dogs at. So like there was like a year, I think my best year, I caught like 11 dogs in one year.
Damn, that's almost one a month. Look at you.
Yeah, I was like, I found 10 back to their home, and then number 11's asleep on my couch. Like I've had
yeah.
I've
You
had
found
her
him
for
at home.
7
It
years now.
just happened to be your home.
Yeah, I was like, and that's like, so I'm from just north of Detroit, so like my dog's a pit mix. Those dogs, like, if you take them to a shelter, they're probably just going to get euthanized. So I was like, I was definitely too young to get a dog, but...
There you are with a dog.
Yeah. I was like, she's mine now. Still got her.
All right, so we're just past the hour mark. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and then out of respect to your time, we can part ways and go about our day.
Okay.
Do you have any moonshot projects right now? Moonshot projects, like big, lofty things you wish to work on or start or accomplish.
I'd like to put on, like, a big solo show. That's something this year, I've kind of decided I'm going to take a step back from smaller work, and I'm only working big for the next year of my life. I'm talking big canvas, big pieces, like
So put a sense of scale on this big. Like what physical size are we talking?
About 4 foot minimum canvases.
So 48-inch in either direction and no smaller.
Yep.
That's big.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
I was like, because I used to work like 12 by 12s all the time, and I'm like, I don't want to go smaller than 4 feet. So I think like my moonshot projects right now would be making as big paintings as I can and finding a space that I can display them in. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. I got diagnosed with leukemia last month, so my future's a little gray just on like what I'm gonna do artistically this year. That's kind of why I was like, I'm gonna step back from the market hustle and focus on just like painting big, meaningful work. I think that's a little bit of a gray definition, but the pieces haven't come to me yet. I just know I'm not going to work small anymore.
I mean, I think that's a good headspace or wheelhouse to point yourself in for sure.
Yeah.
And give yourself some context to the ideas. Like if it doesn't fit in this framework or this under this umbrella, then it's not the thing I want to be working on. So yeah, that's a good clarification. Second question, and usually the last question I ask is, who is or who are some Knoxville creative people that the listeners should check out or I should chase to be on the podcast?
Oh,
if you can name 3, that'd be awesome. But if you can only name 1, that'd be cool too.
Let me see.
This is usually the one that puts people on the spot where they're like, oh shit, now I gotta think.
Do you know Adam from Glorious Matthew?
I know of him. I don't know him personally.
Badass collage artist.
Yes.
I think they're awesome, very creative. Like they did a collage workshop at Lowercase Books recently. Just great person. I think they would be really cool. Let me see who else that I would recommend. It's like I really like. I almost feel like I'm giving like a shout out to my friends.
No, do it. That's fine.
Because you already interviewed Esther, obviously incredible. Brittany from Level Up Studios is incredible. They do like epoxy work. Love them.
Yeah, I think I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah,
Pretty
they're
sure
great. Love them. I just feel like I really love Kimmy from Handmage, Nikki from Mountain Moon. I know those two are super, super, super busy all the time, but those are some makers that I really like, love, and respect. Gosh, well, let me pull out.
Oh, here we go, digging through the phone.
I was like, we're just throwing out all the shout outs I can right now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what this part of the show is for sure. Because this is the benefit for this is twofold because I don't know everybody, and this is a good compass to keep me chasing guests. If I ask one person for 3 people, then I might be able to get one of those 3 people, and then the show keeps rolling.
Mary from Cosmic Chaos. She does amazing jewelry work. Would recommend. It's like that's kind of, I would say, there's a solid 5.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah.
I was like, those are the makers. Like, anytime I see any of them, I'm gonna go say hi and see what they've been working on.
Nice.
Because those are makers I follow regularly.
All right, and if you would introduce yourself and then tell people your socials and your websites and all that jazz, and then we can hit the button and end this thing.
All right. Well, once again, my name's Amy, A-M-E. My handle is Junedog Art. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok. I'm more on Instagram than TikTok. TikTok is for the youth. And I am 30.
The youths.
The youth. But yeah, you can also email me at JuneDogArt if you have any questions. I probably won't be at markets much this year, but hit me up on social. And thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you for doing the thing. I appreciate you taking time to come talk to me on the couch in the secret studio location. And I appreciate your time. This has been the next episode of the KAAMP. My name is Thomas Zachary. If you want to support the podcast, you can listen to the episodes. You can share them. You can play them at loud volumes out of your car when you go through town and let people know what's up. That'd be really cool. Or you can just ask people nicely to put the show in their ear holes, and I would be greatly appreciative. If you want to support my creative endeavors, you can buy art from me at TTW Artworks on Instagram. It's TTW_artworks. I make all kinds of crazy shit. And I hope you like it. This has been the KAAMP. I'm Thomas, and we're out.